Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ian from Equity Warehouse. I have hijacked the Real Estate Reserve podcast feed from my co host, Jason Balin of Hard Money Bankers. But we wanted to do this because, we want to get more content out there. There's been a lot of good feedback of everything that we've been doing over the past few years. And we wanted to find a way to bring more content to the viewers, be able to help those that are already in business and also help those who are trying to get started in real estate, and just give you a behind the scenes look, a peek under the hood, as they say, of exactly what's going on in real time in our lives and what we're doing. So I'm going to start doing a weekly reflection, and or discussing what's going on inside of our business, hopefully on a weekly basis. And Jason, we're working on a content piece for him for doing questions. So if you guys got any questions regarding real estate, feel free to reach out. You know where to find us, and we will get those questions going on a weekly basis. With that being said, I want to jump right into it and kind of go over what happened with me over the past week. I was out on the road. I hit a mastermind event. I went and did some site visits. I looked at some new properties, met some vendors. It was a really eventful week. But my first stop was down in Atlanta, Georgia, at a mastermind event hosted that was, around storage. Most of the operators in the room were self-storage operators. Actually, the conversation wound up being really interesting. We did pick Atlanta, Georgia, because we were supposed to do the Porsche driving experience. However, we weren't able to book that, cutting our trip a little short. But some of the guys did go skydiving. Everyone says, well, the activity, like, what's the point of doing activity when you guys are there? You're supposed to be there doing business. Of course, my wife gives me some crap. But you know what it does? It creates camaraderie. It breaks down the barriers. It allows people to be more open. Our group's already very open because we've been together for, about 2 years now. This is our fourth time meeting. So conversation is very natural and easy, but it does help break down any barriers that you might have, puts everybody on the same level, and it makes it fun. With that being said, to talk about the event, you would think that we're there to talk about storage, or business in general, but what came out was a lot of life stuff. A lot of people were going through life type events, business on a high level, and going through and seeing what each looked like for each person. Um, a lot of stuff came back to family dynamic type stuff that we were all having issues with, right? And a lot of underlying themes, and a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize is that your business and your life are completely intertwined. And if you're not respectful of that relationship, it can get real dicey real quick. Um, a few takeaways I did have. One of them was being, defining what high level is. It's funny. You see everyone in the room kind of going, "Oh, I wish I could be like this guy," or vice versa, right? Like, and the low level guys want to be like this, guys that are, operating at, 30, 40, $50 million of real estate. And then the $50 million real estate guys are going, "Oh man, you own 3 properties and life's good and you don't have a ton of problems." Like, dude, super jealous of that, right? Like, so what I took away from that is define what your high level is, right? Like, write down a vision, write down your goals, write down what's right for you and your family. When I left there, I started immediately working on my vision and what I see for our company and what my personal goals are. And hopefully bringing that, not hopefully, but I will bring that to my business partner and say, "Hey, here's my goals, here's my needs, here's my wants. This is what I'm working on. What are you working on?" And then grow our company accordingly. So having a vision and knowing where you're going, was a very common theme. It seems to be a common theme every time we leave these things, but it makes sense. Too many of us just go out there and do and don't stop and think about, well, what does this do for me? What's the purpose behind doing another deal? What's the purpose of making more money? What's the purpose of growing just that much more? Or what's the purpose of selling everything? Right. Like, so there were really interesting conversations that, we all had. And one of the guys who I'm really close with inside the group, I was texting him and talking to him, and I was like, "Hey man, like, if you could go public and nothing got in your way, would you do it?" And he said, "Well, what's the purpose?" And I was like, "Damn it, you're right." Like, because I knew he was challenging me right away. Right. And that there, it kind of puts you back. It kind of grounds you, right? Because it's so easy to be like, I want, I want, I want, I want, I want, versus saying, well, I want all this, but like, what does it look like for my family? What does it do for me personally? How can I help other people? Does it help my business partner and I? Does it help our employees? Does it help our vendors if we continue to grow at that rate? Do we even need to grow at that rate? Um, my personal belief is that, you should make the most money you possibly can for you and your family, because otherwise it's a disservice, especially with everything going on right now with hyperinflation and everything else that's going on in the world. I think having the most money available to you as a tool is exponentially more important. But now I have a reason to sit down and write a goal behind why we need these things and say, okay, well, that's what we're going to work towards. So they were just really interesting takeaways. Um, so between the camaraderie, between execution, having a vision, and recognizing that your business is intertwined with your family life and being respectful of that, relationship. They were all things that I took away. In defining what success is. So there was a funny story. So um, we went out to dinner. The guy who hosted the event made the mistake of leaving picking dinner to me and one other guy. And we're going through, and we found a place. It was $3 signs. Didn't really think anything of it. Whatever. So we go out to dinner, and we sit down, and meals are 30 to $50. And look, I don't like spending money like that on those types of meals, but I'm with the group. It's the experience. Who cares? Whatever. Um, I'm not going there every single day of my life. I'm not going there for lunch. I'm not going there just because I want to go. I'm going there for a reason, right? So we go to this Italian restaurant. By the way, insanely good. So we sit down. We're going to order, and you can tell one of the guys is really uncomfortable. So whatever. So it gets to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get the buffalo chicken egg rolls." And the guy's like, "Okay, well, what do you want for dinner?" He's like, "Well, that's it." And that was it. It was an appetizer. And we're like, man, dude, you all right? Like, you could just tell he's uncomfortable. Like, he wasn't drinking, so it's not like he was on the liquid diet. And like, we're going through it, and I'm just like, everyone's like, "Hey, man, like, are you okay?" And he's like, "Well, I'll be honest with you guys. Since we're here at this event, like, I don't like spending more than $20 on a meal. I just don't see the point. To me, it's a waste." And we're like, "Dude, you need to eat. Like, we're all here. It is what it is. Like, it's one time. It's not like we're doing this every day. It's not like we're going living from paycheck to paycheck. Like, here's a room full of successful guys. We all kind of feel uncomfortable spending this type of money on food, but you know what? Wound up being a great dinner, great conversation. Things that weren't talked about in the room were talked about there, right? Like, it's the experience, and and he just had a monumental breakthrough of leaving his job and retiring, so I can get like how there might be some uncomfortableness around it, and he doesn't come from a spending background. But then like the conversation was like, hey man, like, you don't want to spend money on this, like, do you think one of the issues you have inside your business is because you don't like to spend money, right? Like, money is a tool. Money's an avenue to get things completed faster than you possibly can do. And we were going down this whole thing, and like, just connecting him not wanting to order a meal with some stuff that was going inside of his business to who and what he is, and not losing true sight of his core values. We were able to work through that problem. And I thought that was like one of the most interesting things of the trip, and interesting conversations in the trip. And actually, there was a topic that came up that I'm going to bring up on the podcast. So just got to find the right way to present it. But here in the next few weeks, I'm going to find a way to present it. But anyway, man, that was a really good time hanging out with them guys. I hit the road. I went out to Mississippi to go meet up with a vendor, potential new property manager. And this will go back to the execution that we discussed inside the mastermind event. So I go out there, I meet the vendor, we drive down, we go stop and look at two new properties, did a site check at one of our other ones, and then headed down to Baton Rouge, to go look at our large acquisition from this past year. And one of my big topic inside the mastermind was like discussing execution. The guy who hosted the event asked us to write down one word that describes your 2022. Well, for me, it was execution, right? Like, we all go through these seasons of life. Like, right now we're in execution mode. Soon we'll be in defense. Not want to say defense, but we might be in just like a lull, and then we might go back and acquire again, right? Like we're going through all these different phases. Um, so right now we're in an execution phase. So one of the reasons for our site visit was to check on our boots on the ground, check on our existing vendors, see what's going on, making sure work's getting complete. Where do we stand? Gearing up for the rest of the capex, which is quite a bit. The door replacements, the stoning the lot, future development, right? Like we're working through all these different phases that we have to do. But you know what? Like it was Dan, it was myself, it was Ryan, who oversees our operation. Like everyone's getting involved and getting ready to take the next leap. Well, the vendor I was with was another property manager, interviewing them, and they were like, "Why are you guys out here fixing doors if you have a property manager? Like, just leave it. Like, are they going to get to it?" And we're like, "Well, no, we've had several months of not getting to it, which has caused us to ultimately interview, ultimately causing us to get down here. And if we see something wrong, we have pride of ownership and we're going to get it done. We're going to fix it. We're not going to let it fester." And I think they were like, "Man, that's like good," because like there's a lot of lazy owners out there. And, you know, when you look at it, too many people just rely on their vendors to get stuff done. We're there going, "Hey, vendor," and especially since we're far, like you told us you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Like, why aren't these things done? This is what you told us is going to be done. And holding them accountable, documenting everything by writing to make sure that things are getting complete. In the end, our interview with our new vendor, with a potential new property manager, was absolutely amazing. Entrepreneurial. They had the same mindset of us. They dressed like us. They had the same jokes. They could handle the jokes that we had. Like there was a good relationship there organically prior to even getting into business together. And I thought that was really interesting. And basically, it added a thing to best hiring practices for new vendors as we grow. It's like, okay, well, they need to be able to handle this, and this, right? And there's certain things that we're looking for as we grow and as we increase the portfolio and look for new employees, new vendors, new subcontractors, whatever they may be. There was major takeaways from all that. And I'm glad that I went to the mastermind event first to get myself into the right mindset. So then when we're out there, it wasn't just like, "Oh, this person didn't do this." It's like, okay, boom. How do we resolve this issue? Great. How does this never happen again? I'm glad that I was at that mastermind event first, even though I was away from my family for the past week. It was well worth going to that first, getting in the right mindset, and then going to handle what we had going on out there. Other than that, man, it's just, again, going back to executing everything we said we're going to do in the time that we said we're going to do it. And not only holding our vendors accountable, but holding ourselves accountable. And that's one thing that you can do, whether you're already involved in real estate or you're going to get involved in real estate. It's holding yourself accountable. If you said, "Hey, I'm going to underwrite 5 deals this week because I want to get involved in real estate, I want to quit my job, I want to do this, or I want to do that," well, then hold yourself accountable. Put put 5 boxes up on the board and check them off to underwrite 5 deals. 2 friends of mine, actually, they're both investors in some of our deals. They're trying to get involved in real estate. They underwrote 3 deals this past weekend, and they said, "Hey, man, I think these are all crap." They sent them over to me. I took a look. I said, "Yeah, they're all crap." But you know what they did? They underwrote 3 deals. They underwrote 3 more deals than the next person who's just out there talking shit. So just remember, hold true to what your values are, what you want to do. Underwrite yourself as an investor. Do you want the headaches? Do you want to do it? Or do you want to be a passive investor and not deal with the headaches and just continue to work inside your career and have, a nest egg later on? Both are okay. And know who and what you want. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, but if you want something, you're going to get it. So I know that's kind of, a few isms right there that all kind of contradict each other. But in the end, you need to know who you are. So normally Jason closes this out. Hopefully I'm going to hit the right close button. And if you guys like this, let us know. Shoot us a message. We're going to start doing these once a week. If it sucks, let me know, because then I won't do them once a week. But hopefully everyone got value from this, and I look forward to you guys on the next show, which we have a big one coming up later this week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Reserve Podcast. Do us a favor and like, comment, and share our broadcast. It helps the algorithm and helps us spread the word too. Till next time, thank you for tuning in.